Do Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Berna, roll call, please.
Amanda Bowers,
Aye. Here.
Pam Getter,
Here.
Bob Miller,
Here.
Cindy Knight, and Dan Dukowski absent.
At this point, yes.
Do I have to say Dan Christ for the lawyer?
Through the chair, that's not, maybe you can note that I'm here, but
Any additions, deletions from the agenda that we have for tonight? By anybody here?
I think we do need to probably add on and address,
The building in Washington.
yes,
Okay. I was,
to address what happened with Washington Township in their meeting last week.
okay. You want to do that?
Sure, how do we do it?
You want to add to which agenda item?
Would it be unfinished business, new?
New business.
New business?
Mhm.
New business.
Want to make that item D?
Would it be
See,
C?
Oh, well, I had a C for myself.
Oh.
So,
You have another one?
yes.
Okay. So yes, D is fine. Do you want
Okay.
to tell us what you would like to add for C?
I heard about comments made regarding the Washington Township building, and I just wanted to discuss that. Just begin discussing that, I guess.
Chair, so you're proposing that as item 10C?
Yes, 10C.
And
versus
10D to address the issues that came up regarding the commission at Park, or regarding the commission at Washington Township's meeting last week.
So it'd be appropriate to consider a motion to approve the
Yes.
agenda as stated.
So, approval of the agenda with the stated items being changed. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Consent agenda, that's the minutes from the January 18th meeting, and approve the accounts payable from January 13th through February 16th. I've seen them all because I signed a lot of the other checks. I didn't see an issue with anything. How about you guys?
I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything there.
Okay, cool. And the minutes from the last meeting, they're in your packet, and I didn't see anything that looked out of the ordinary on those.
No, I don't either.
Okay. So, motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Legal counsel, any words of wisdom?
Thank you, Chairman Bill. Just consistent with the commission's direction at its last meeting, I spoke with Commissioner Knight with respect to having, or at least reaching out to the Village of Romeo's council as it relates to the status of the existing facilities lease between Parks and Rec and the Village of Romeo. We did have an initial discussion relative to the terms of that agreement and agreed to meet. Commissioner Knight was not able to participate in that communication, but we're going to, within the next 30 days, attempt to have another communication with respect to the substance of that lease.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Community comments. Who wants to come up and speak, please go to the mic, state your name.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Matthews. I'm a resident of Washington Township residing on Liberty Woods Drive. Now, with all this furor over the behavior of Mr. Detkowski, I think we should consider another alternative that exemplifies the care for another person who needs help. Now, I'm not a trained behavioral scientist or a psychological expert. I'll state that for the record. But I think we should make an attempt to suggest to this person that he be evaluated and possibly seek professional help. And in so doing, if he applies himself and is a better person for it, then we all win. Now, I know that sounds like maybe a altruistic solution, but in our modern society today, this help is available. This is not the 12th century. We live in a modern society that has help for all kinds of conditions, from broken bones to a heart transplant. And included that is psychological behavior. I think we should encourage Mr. Detkowski to take that path. And if he fails in that attempt, then clearly we're a better person for it, because we've offered that to him rather than merely throwing him off the bus. That's an easy thing to do, isn't it? Okay, so those are my words. Let me share this story with you. I was a young engineer in one of our plants in 1973. I went to an audit at one of our plants in Oklahoma, and I was commenting outwardly about the way they were treating the parts involved in the assembly. And the factory manager was standing about 20 feet away from me, and he listened to this. And you know what he told me after this? He said, well, then what is your suggestion? So I learned after that it's easy to criticize, but it takes a little more effort and initiative and creativity to try to help the situation. And those are my comments, and I'd thank you for allowing me to make those. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Susan Hyatt. Do we give our address? I missed that part.
You can.
Oh, 61652 Glenwood Trail. I was just wondering if you could please introduce the new commissioner to us.
Geez. Amanda Bowers. She's our new commission member. She's took one of the positions vacated by Phyllis or Scott. So she is with us tonight. We picked her, or the Washington Township contingent picked her at our last meeting, and we all agreed, and it went to the Washington Township Board, and the Washington Township Board ratified that selection. So thank you for volunteering and coming, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sue, for reminding me to be a gentleman and do stuff like that. Sometimes I forget. Okay, anybody else?
Just clarification.
Sure.
John Chaplin, Washington Township. When you were amending the agenda items, the discussion at the Washington Township Board meeting about, removing Dan Detkowski in the hearing, was that one of the items you were adding to new business? Okay, I'll hold my comments till we
Yes.
get there then. Thank you. I just wanted a clarification of that.
No problem.
Hi.
Hi.
Cheryl Serhan, Washington Township. You probably were aware that some of us were at the Washington Township trustee meeting last week, and it ended up that with our concerns regarding Mr. Detkowski, we are to come to the Parks and Rec Commission with our concerns. One of my notes is I totally agree with this gentleman. I had put down that I feel that it's the board's responsibility, that he needs to either seek some anger management or some type of classes. I agree with, instead of just throwing someone off the bus, if they can correct their behavior, that might be the way to go. I also have a few questions about the Parks and Rec. What are the plans for spring here? Is there anything lined up for, I hear about restrooms, I hear all different things, but what is the plan? Is there a plan?
Yes, and we were discussing that. We have not finalized the master plan yet. The master plan is for the next, what, 5 years? 5 years. But that doesn't mean that we're not working on those things already. We had last fall put out a bid for several things like pavilions, restrooms, things like that in several of the parks. Those bids came back much higher than we had anticipated and our engineering firm had anticipated. So in our last meeting, we were discussing, okay, we can't do all of this. What can we do and what do we want to do? What's going to take priority? So that's one of the things that we're working on. We're also, have some other items as you'll see here coming up with various agreements with the Village of Romeo, as you heard from our attorney, Washington Township, and the Romeo Community Schools. So some things hinge a little bit on that, but not really. We do have, all of the programs and things like that are upcoming. They're going. Additions to things, we're going to have to go back and not really rebid, but see if some of the contractors would be willing to scale back and still accept the job that they had bid on. Again, you can't just automatically assume that they would do that.
So are the contractors being selected through the recommendation of the engineering firms, or is there?
It's put out for open bid.
For open bid, okay.
Anybody, yes. And it's put on BidNet and I forget where else.
Okay, another question. Do we still own property
The Parks,
over by that soccer pavilion?
Parks and Rec does not own any property.
Okay, but Washington Township?
Either Washington Township or Bruce Township own the
Okay.
parks
So-
or the schools.
This might be more of a question for the trustees, but, at one point, the plan was that we owned this property, that we would be building some type of, one recreational facility. And sharing some things with the soccer zone, whatever the place is called now.
The Total Sports, is that?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but that's my question. Where are we? It seems like we're all over the map.
Well, that deal was all voted down a long time ago.
Well, I know the soccer thing was, but what about our property that originally was supposed to maybe have a facility?
Washington Township?
Yes.
I do not know.
Okay. So that might be something
Yeah,
to discuss with the trustees at the next meeting.
Yes. And again, those are things that, again, since Parks and Rec can't own, we're somewhat at the mercy of either what the townships are
Would
willing
like
to
to do.
provide, the village provides, or what we can lease.
Okay. So I know we did the surveys. I know there was like 400 responses. I know one of the top priorities for the residents was a splash pad.
Yes.
And so are we trying to do what the residents would like, or?
Yes.
Okay.
That and what the upcoming needs, based on these firms, the firm that did the master plan and did the survey, that's what they do. They know what the trends are, what upcoming, what's popular and what direction we should go. Now, aside from that, we rely on Clara, our director, and her staff who run the programs to tell us also what fits our community, not what trends throughout Michigan are, because our community is a little bit different. And we are in a large geographic area. So that's why, and I've stated it before, I look at Parks and Rec as a district encompassing.
I'm just asking some of these questions. I know Washington Township Supervisor, they are very in for the splash pad. over the years, I've felt some resistance with comments coming back. Oh, we don't have that type of population. We don't have this, we don't have, so I kind of did my own survey on splash pads. I mean, Port Huron, they have 26,000 people. Clay Township have 4,168 people. Oxford has 3,418 people. It's running about $58 a square foot. The comparison I'm saying is these areas have such small population compared to us, but we're like behind all the time. I mean, we're trying to get a restroom.
Well, and that,
I mean, and you go to these communities like Clay Township, which is small, and in their community, they have restrooms, they have splash pad, they have a volley, they have everything right there. And I know we're trying to do things, but I always feel like, oh, if you want to go here, drive to this building. If you want to go here, drive to that building. Oh, well, we have a pool at the high school. People don't want to schedule their life around the high school swim team or be going to water aerobics at 8 o'clock at night. So I've been here, I've lived in this community 34 years. I was on a pool committee 32 years ago, and we had a foundation trying to throw money at us, and we still couldn't seem to get a pool. So that's why I'm bringing up some of these questions tonight.
We appreciate it. And again, this commission has only been in place since,
And I realize
6
that,
months?
and it's kind of why I'm kind of
Yeah.
introducing some of
Yeah.
these things to you, because I don't know the history, I don't know, I just know from what I've experienced in the amount of years I've been in this community. Parks and Rec is great, the programs are wonderful. Clara does an excellent job of running all this and her staff. But then I want another thing is about Mr. Dukowski, when that was going on at the meeting a couple weeks ago, and the question was brought up, I think, by a few of you, we have to have a timely matter if we're going to be applying for grants. And his comment was, oh, we're not going to get grants. We have too much money. And I totally disagree with that. And I challenged him on that at the meeting in Washington Township, because I saved an article from the Detroit Free Press, and it was what the grant money that came out of Michigan. Now, Troy got $90,000 for their rugby field, and Clinton Township got $200,000 for additional playscapes. So I don't think we have the same purse strings, the same amount of money as these communities do from their they have big tax base, but that was something I
The
wanted.
amount of money that you have doesn't necessarily negate the ability to get a grant. Grants are usually given to either emphasize a program or start something to move it along. And usually you don't get enough grant money to complete a project. Usually you do have to have input of your own. So, I agree with that having some money in the bank doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to get a grant.
And to end my comments, as my first item was, we really need to look at this behavior. When I brought it up at the meeting last week in Washington Township, the lawyer, there was things going back and forth, and he's like, oh, well, anybody can file a lawsuit. You go down to Gratiot for $300. Yes, anybody can. That isn't where the costs come in. It's the lawyers, it's all the appeals, it's everything else involved. And we went through that in our last administration with lawsuits. So, I don't think we should be naive to the way the behavior is, that some people might not react to do further things. So, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bob, I'm sorry, I had something else. Can I? Sorry for the delay.
long as you're
First of
quick.
all, this question, proposal, suggestion I make as a non-professional to have Mr. Detkowski evaluated. This can be done something preliminary, as simple as having a trained psychologist review the images from these meetings. They can then see his behavior and make a determination if it's something that can be managed or helped or corrected thereafter. I think that's an easy technique to apply initially. So, also, it's my opinion then, and I think it's verified, that when a person acts that way, and notice how calm and collected we are tonight, that it's not the same composure I see. Okay, and again, I'm not here to badmouth a person. I deal with the sin and not the sinner. As a devout Catholic, I separate those two. But it's the travesty in this behavior because of one other thing. It diminishes the valuable input of all the board members who may be suppressed or intimidated by one or more person. And that valuable input could make a difference between a logical and an illogical decision on a subject. Do you see my point?
Point taken.
Okay, so again, I'm trying to be positive and helpful. That's the way we progress in life. It's easy to throw somebody off the bus. It takes a little courage and moxie to stop the bus, get them help, and if they help themselves, this is the key to that. The person in question has to help himself. And if he does and he's cured, he gets back on the bus and down the road we go. I don't know if that's possible, but if we don't try, we'll never, ever know. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Don Devancher, Washington Township. Okay, that last meeting that everybody's talking about, there was talk that, okay, there was grants that wasn't applied for. Okay, somebody dropped the ball.
No, there weren't any grants that weren't applied for. What it came down to is that there could be grants that we may not be able to get because we don't have the master plan filed.
Okay, so nobody dropped the ball then, is what you're saying? Kind of, I read it different. So,
I don't think that the director or anybody dropped the ball that was working on that, no.
yeah. Okay, I mean, if there's money available for us, we're here in Rochester and all these others are getting money, it's like, hey, let's go after it too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
I don't know if there's only a few people in this world that got too much money.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry. As Betty Cassidy, 356 in Benjamin in Washington. We're also on the tree board, and we were wondering, when do you guys think you're going to meet about the parks that aren't officially parks here yet, like the Sisson Street Park?
Those are not within our purview or control. That would be a decision like the Sisson Street property. That's a decision that the Village of Romeo has to make.
Romeo did make it about 3 or 4 months ago, sir, and they made it a park.
But they didn't make it a park for us.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask
They
them.
can designate it as a park.
I'm going to ask them who they talked to, because I was informed that they went to a meeting, went to one of these meetings and said, yeah, you guys can have it, in my own terms. So I have asked this about 2 or 3 months ago, and I'll ask it next meeting.
No, they did come to one of our meetings, and the, I think Megan said that they hadn't made a decision as to what they were going to do with the property officially. And again, they would have to come to Parks and Rec, and there would have to be a plan for it. And until that happens, we can't do anything.
Okay, so they need a plan for okay. Do we need a monetary plan to where we're getting this much money from this organization to make that plan come true?
Well, we'd have to see what the limitations on it would be, and again, that would be under Romeo's control. You would have to see, what the neighbors are going to think, and obviously it would have to be, it's a small piece of property, I think it's 2 acres.
Yeah.
If that, it would have to be a low-impact type of a situation, because I'm sure there are residences on 2 sides of it that I'm sure.
About 2, yeah, the
Yeah,
backyard.
The back and
Sorry.
the north side. So I don't know that the residents would appreciate certain things,
Okay.
But again, that's not for us to decide at this point. That would be for the village.
All right, I'll let them know.
Thank you.
I'm Sam Praviti from Washington Township. So welcome, Amanda. So at our last meeting at the Board of Trustees, I made the motion to have a hearing for Mr. Dukowski. So I'm here to ask the commission to please consider tonight a hearing request to be presented to both Washington and Bruce Township. As supervisor, I cannot have a Parks and Rec director continue to be harassed and bullied by the actions of Dan Dukowski. So I'm asking the commission to please consider that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
My name's Clark Stow. I live at 380 Brook in Romeo, and I've been up here talking about this same subject before. I'm a little confused about, I'm primarily talking about the Sisson Park. That has been approved as a park designated by the trustees of Romeo. So I don't want anybody to bring up that it's not a park. It's officially designated as a park. It's 1.3 acres. And there has been plans put together to do something with that. But you mentioned that I'm looking for specifics about what the next step is to bring it to Parks and Rec. Who do I talk to find out what that is and what needs to be in that package to bring it to Parks and Rec?
Well,
Because that would go back to the village, correct?
Okay, but you keep saying that, but I mean, I'm asking for if the village makes a determination. They've already made a determination to come to you and ask you to get involved in it. But what do they have to present to you? Are you looking for from them?
One thing would be the type of usage.
Say that again?
One thing would be the type of use, what they would allow in that park. Because they're the ones that are going to have to answer to their residents. What kind of activity?
So if it'll be just mostly like a quiet green space, a splash pad, not suggesting that, I don't think that would be a good space for that. But I think the idea before of what Megan had mentioned was having it be more of like, kind of like a quiet green space.
Right. Okay.
Possibly an art installation or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe I should sit down and talk to Claire and get some.
Yeah. I think, talking to Claire and giving her some ideas and things like that. But again, it has to be in conjunction, I believe, with the village.
Okay. My second question, and it's a little bit shorter. A couple meetings back, I volunteered to be on the park committee, and I was told that even by Clara that I'm on that park committee, but that committee hasn't met yet. I'm just wondering, what's that committee? If I see on here on your agenda, there's activities that have to do with parks, but that park committee is not meeting to go over some of those things.
The park committee did meet a couple of times. I'm not actually on that particular committee itself, but what they were doing is they were working with the engineering firm that put out these bids for the things that we have, that we were looking at adding, like the pavilions and things like that. And I don't believe that committee has met recently.
In the last 4 months?
Right.
Okay.
I think that was, forget who was running that.
It was originally Scott and
Scott
Dan.
and Dan were originally on it, and
Which, did Cindy step in?
I think Cindy's on it as well.
But if some of those activities came back up again to rebid it and all that stuff, would that committee meet?
Yeah.
So if I'm on that committee, I would be informed?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And then that committee would bring it back to the board.
Sure.
The commission.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Good evening, Carl Bove, Bruce Township resident. As a Bruce Township resident, I do not support how Mr. Dukowski responds to the Parks and Rec director during any meeting. Great advice has been given by others tonight. This board now needs to take action. Thank you.
Anybody else? If there's no other public comments at this time, we'll move on. Director's report. Berna, you going to take care of that? Oh, gosh, give her one of those.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
I was hoping I didn't have to.
Poor
do it, maybe.
excuse there, Berna. Poor excuse.
Okay, well, you have the budget. It's kind of self-explanatory, if you've looked at a budget before. I do have a couple of extra copies. Does anyone want a copy? Anyone?
Which one are we going to look at first, Star or Parks and Rec?
Flip a coin. Let's do stars.
Do Star, it's smaller.
Your cover page is basically a breakdown. Can you hear me? Okay, fine. Is a breakdown of the millage money that we received from Washington, millage money received from Bruce, our LSCA stabilization money that comes in. It's combined Bruce and Washington money. We just put it all in the same account. Smart revenue comes in from community credits and grants that comes directly from Smart to subsidize the senior transportation. And then miscellaneous other revenue would be from donations. And all that is broke down on the next page. Same with the expenses, administrative, everything's there. So if we just go to, now, the assignment of the fund balance, I think Clara had it in here that we are not dipping into the fund balance at all this year for anything. We've purchased our vehicles. Our next new vehicle is coming from Smart, so we don't have to do anything there. So it's just going to be basic operating expenses this year. Future capital development, I know that there is the lean-to they talked about for the buses, the garage that houses them. It needed some repairs. Let's see what she had on the other page. Well, if we just go to page 2 on the revenue, you'll see. The actual we received this year from interest on our accounts, which is probably going to be much higher because our CD rolled over from 0.0 something percent to like 2%. So we're getting about $900 a quarter there on what we do have invested. Donations this year are $845, so that's whatever the seniors decide to donate towards their transportation. Your Smart revenue is broken down from special services, municipal credits, and community credits. That helps to fund some of our senior trips as well. We get reimbursement on some of that. The millage income, which comes from the townships. Portion of, if we go to the next page to the expenses, you have the salaries. 15% of the director's salary is paid from Star. So that's her portion there. We have moved 25% of the accountant's salary into the 24-25 budget, just because we feel with their payroll and the W-2s, and I do their audit, that maybe 25% was a little bit better than 15% for the amount of work that I do for them. So that would be the 25% on my salary. The rest of it, your basic, your health insurance is we have one full-time person working at Star that, as the director of that. So you have your FICA of all your employees, so health insurance, life insurance, retirement at 12%. Unemployment is standard, workers' comp is pretty standard. They actually take a big chunk of the workers' comp because they have more liability with having drivers on the road. So that's just pretty much standard deductions in there. The next page of expenses, we did have to increase their office supplies a little bit, just based on, cost of living. Postage, again, little increase there because postage continues to go up. Everything goes up, so it's, minimal increases in each account. The audit, we're estimating at 12.5 last year. We finished under budget, thanks to myself. So we did reduce that a little bit. Our liability insurance is pretty standard every year. We're anticipating approximately an 8 to 10% increase. Phones and internet, we've gotten rid of some of our extra Comcast that we didn't need, so we were able to reduce that on the budget. Advertising, a lot of that is done through us. That's an amount they pay to Parks and Rec for us to put them in our brochures and on our website all the time. Legal is obviously increased because of these meetings. They get to take their share of what we pay our lawyers to be here at these meetings. So that has increased significantly. MediRoutes is the program that they use for dispatching their drivers and where everyone's going to be during the day. So being they have so many trucks on the road, they need that program to run. And again, we're anticipating a slight increase there. And then the part-time office and dispatch is, we were over budget this year due to more people using Star Transportation, and we had the vehicles to move people. So we are anticipating more and more people, COVID's over, everything's over, more and more people are getting out, more and more people are utilizing Star. So we have more drivers, and obviously salaries go up. The capital improvements, we have to decal the new vehicles that we got, and the new one that's coming from Smart. The office, let's see what she have. Okay, she wants to do some upgrades in the offices.
Yeah, we talked about when we had our meeting, our budget workshop, we talked about the computers.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I left early, so.
Yeah.
But it's still, let's see, oh, and the overhang. The overhang, and the birds nesting issues and the trees that need to come out
Yes.
of the back that are over the, whatever,
Yeah,
so.
that are going to fall.
Yeah, so again, minimal. Building and grounds. This one, we kind of need to touch on because for years, if you can look back all the way to 2019 that shows on here, they've always paid the $20,000, and we were considering increasing that based on the cost of what we pay for. They do not pay for any of the lighting, the utilities, the electric and the gas, the snow plowing, the landscaping. So if we added in, a percentage of what we pay, now granted, we use the buildings day and night, they're only there during the day. We could be there 7 days, they're only there 5 days. So we needed to come up with a percentage of the utilities that they would also pay. They do pay 25% of our phone bill, 25% of our cable bill. So it needs to be discussed where we might want it, because 20,000 is pretty good for rent and an all-inclusive rent for 12 months of the year, include all that. So we didn't know if we wanted to bump it to 26 this year, maybe 28 next year, or just take a percentage of the utilities. That was one thing that had to be discussed.
Okay. So we're going to discuss that.
Okay. The full-time operations coordinator, we have one, and with her increase, that's giving her a raise this year, because, the cost of living is high, everyone needs the raise. Drivers, again, there's their salary, and it's going to increase if we have more drivers on the road. Our expenses are going to go up, and what we pay them if everyone gets a raise. Uniforms, Dory allows them so much for embroidering. They're allowed to she either orders it for them and then gets it logoed for them, because everyone has to have a logo when they're out driving the buses. So she allows them so much each year for each employee to get it embroidered. More employees, more embroidery. Training and testing. Looks like she's got that down a little bit. I think most of our drivers, she's not looking to hire too many new drivers, so the training won't be much, but the testing is, drug testing that's random.
Right.
Everyone has to do. Community and senior trips is in there. And part-time sick pay, I'm not sure who's aware of it, but I believe it was 2019, Michigan adopted a part-time sick pay where we have to pay, if somebody averages 25 hours a week per year, then we have to pay them so many hours for the hours they worked if they're working 25 on the average. So Dory does have people that work longer. And so we were a little bit off in this department. We were at 1,700 because what had happened was I took over in 21 and it had never been calculated, so we had to go backwards and add it to everyone. What we did was we allowed them to have their time, but we didn't say you had to use it by the end of the year, but you could use it as you needed it because we were late in giving it to them, so we had to be flexible.
Sure.
A lot of people did take their time, but with what we have with people's average hours, we're guessing that we're going to be right around 1,800 for the part-time sick pay. That's a legal law. The vehicles, repair and maintenance, everything goes up. Cleaning, that's for cleaning just the vehicles, not for cleaning the building.
Right.
Miscellaneous is miscellaneous, and fuel she has up a little bit because we never know where fuel's going to be.
Right.
That is Star.
All right. So do you guys want anything that you want to discuss on it right now?
Do we need to discuss the building and grounds right now, or after we go through?
Well, you want to do
I think we
Star
should
first?
finish Star
Okay.
first.
Or Parks and Rec? you mean?
No, I mean,
Discuss the percentage of utilities.
Right.
And finish up Star before we move on to
Yes,
Parks and Rec.
that's what I was, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was getting at.
Okay.
Okay. Because they're housed in the same building as Parks and Rec, this is kind of a guesstimate based on the square footage and all what they use. Is that what you based the 20,000 on, or what is actually the 20,000?
at one time, they could have told you what the 20,000 encompassed, but it's been 20,000 for a long time, and nobody really remembers what went into that number. It's just been a continual overflow. No, I don't think square footage was figured in for what they get for that.
Because they don't have that much square footage.
No, because they have the
But
outside.
they have the outside and,
Yeah.
and the garage space, if you will.
Right.
Okay. Do you think it's adequate, being the accountant?
So I think, what, 20,000 is
Yeah.
adequate? No?
Does it make more sense if it's 25% of, you said it was 25% of phone that they kick back? Does it make more sense to do a flat rate or a percentage?
I think if we take the numbers and figure out, oh, that's a good question. A flat rate would be easier for everyone involved, rather than taking the bills each month and having to split it up and have them pay a portion of it and maybe be commingling our funds. So a flat rate would actually be easier, but as far as the utilities, the heating and the lights, like you said, they have a small portion. They're only there 5 days a week during the day. We are there 7.
Right.
So I don't think 25% is, we don't use the phones at night or on the weekends like we would during the day for regular business. So that's different. But I think, maybe start with 10% this year on the utilities because they have such a small space, and then, add that number. So that'd be like another 3,700. Start at 26,000, just raise them to 26,000 this year. Because you have to figure, we're mowing the lawn, we're doing the parking lots, we're the salting, the snow removal, all of that is included in that. And you don't want to hit them too hard in the beginning, you want to be fair, but,
Well-
they're not used to it.
They're they're part of us.
Yes.
You know, it's just what part of the budget it comes from, which is my next question, where are we going to take it from?
That would be a question for Clara.
Okay. So, we need, I think, to, in my opinion, I don't know what you guys think, that we maybe need to have a little more discussion on that particular item before we make any decisions on it.
And some input from Clara as to what's reasonable.
All right. All right, well then let's move on to the Parks and Rec budget.
Okay, well, the front page, again, is a summary of everything that's included in there. You can see that, I think this was a balance as of December 31st. Our PNC checking has $2,958,923. Our investment account has $162. That is currently earning us right around $900 a quarter, and that is the only money we have invested. So that would be a good source of revenue. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
The millage, Washington millage, Bruce millage, we don't have the LSCA on there because it was questionable for last year what was what and how the accountants had it, so we left that off. The revenue from programming is $790,500. Expenses, salary and benefits, $460,620. Department operations are $240,600. Improvements are $708,000, and all this we'll explain on the next pages. Maintenance, $559,600, and your programming, your expenses are about $797,100. Certain programs don't make money, like our senior programs, where we do take our senior salaries out of the senior programs. That's more of a cost because senior programs don't really make money. They're more of a welcome center for the seniors. So that's why we're a little upside down there. The money we have assigned for future use, $1,250,000. The restricted donations, $15,535. The amount that we need to keep in the bank is about $1.5 million to keep us functioning should we not receive any more money. That's what we keep before the taxes come in. We have to have that. Gilcher Christmas Pavilion, we put $700,000 in there, but that was a question at the last meeting because of all the
Right, and
bids.
so that's something that we haven't figured out exactly what we're going to do yet. What we were looking at was about somewhere around that number.
680,
Yeah.
686 or something.
But that was,
A
that
scaled
was,
back version of what was
and
originally
it was
proposed.
based on prices that they bid at the time. Who knows what they would come back with
Right.
now, you know? So, yeah, that's, I like the question mark there, because that's what it's going to be.
Exactly. And you'll see on the Washington Township pickleball project, it's showing only $37,243, even though it's a $167,000 project. We still have 120-some thousand that was not used this year,
Right.
that we had allocated out of the fund balance from last year, so we don't have to move that money this year, so we're only putting this in at $37,000. Page 2, your revenue, your millage funds from Washington is $1,509,894. Bruce, $465,000, totaling $1,975,677. The history of the millage is on there. I didn't figure out the percentage of what it's gone up or anything, the voting history. The millage rate, yeah, we are up for a millage this year.
Yep.
Next page. The director's salary, she is 85% Parks and Rec, 15% Star. Accountant's salary is 75%, 25%. You saw the other 25% on Star for both of us. Senior coordinators, and this all does include an increase. We did do the salary survey that was included with your budget packet. The salary survey that we did to come up with bringing us to fair market rates for basically starting positions. This doesn't take into account anyone's 26 to 30-year tenure that they already have in there. This is where the market's at with the cost of living, and I did include the cost of living increases and the increases that we had received. So these are the new rates, bringing everyone into 2024 and our cost of living now. FICA, that's, everyone has to pay it, even though I don't think they do 25% of my work, but, health insurance with our new rates, life insurance, retirement, we're at 12% on our retirement. Your basic unemployment, everyone pays it through the state.
Yep.
Workers' comp we are fairly low, and we also get a dividend reimbursement for being in compliance, and we pay in full now, so we get usually a kickback check on that. It keeps it low. Disability insurance and our health savings account. So our total salary and benefits, we're no longer under the Washington Township benefits because now we are an individual entity. So sick days, we are earned at 10 per year with a maximum bank of 20. And our short and long-term disability, again, we are on our own. So those rates did go up a little bit if you look at between 23 and 24. Short and long-term disability went up. Healthcare did not go up much for what we were expecting for,
Right.
taking the plan on ourselves. We actually did really good there, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
I
they
agree.
did a nice job for us.
Yeah, it could have, I thought it was going to be way worse, so,
Me too.
I was expecting a way different number there.
yeah. Well, it helps to have young kids.
Yeah.
The office supplies, we are up, a little bit, $1,000. Right now, at the end of December, we had only $900 left in our budget to make it the next 3 months, so we increased that slightly. Postage was at $500 because we haven't really used it, with everything being online and emailing. Postage is down even though postage is up. Banking fees, these are just miscellaneous fees. We really don't have any banking fees, but if the bank charges us for, like I have $60 pending right now, they charged us for something that I can't find out what, but that's what that is for. Equipment service and software, this was talked about in the budget meeting. We do have some pending stuff that Clara needs to get done.
Yeah.
And whether we're going to do the Microsoft and everything, we did put it in the budget. The audit, we were down last year, but I asked that she just keep it the same because we don't know, since we didn't see an increase last year, we just wanted to keep it the same to see where we end up. Mileage, if people are traveling for us, running to the bank, whatever, we do reimburse mileage. Our liability insurance, everything goes up. Accounting software, that is my program to run fund balance, and I have to have it for the updating of the payroll taxes and everything else. I will tell you that we are working with them right now to be able to pull everything from RecPro over to fund balance so that we don't have to do separate journal entries. I just haven't had the time to make sure it's working properly. Our phone, internet, and Nixle, that's pretty status quo. We went up. We did take our, it was discussed about the personal cell phones versus being on here. We did move all the phones off of that, so that has changed. Your advertising and marketing, that includes part of our marketing girl who does all of our website and everything. Part of her, 60% of her pay goes into here because that's mostly what she does. She is part-time, but mostly she just handles the website, Facebook, and all of our flyers.
Yep.
Let's see, what else do we have? Sick earned, we don't have as many people earning sick time through Parks and Rec. Their hours are not up this year, but it's still more than it was because we have more employees. Senior staff, again, that's more of just an expense because senior programs aren't made to make money. Part-time office, we take 50% of everyone who works in our office and put 50% of their salary towards just general office, and then we break them down by programs or whatever else they might be doing if they have senior cards or whatever. So everyone's salary is split that way that works in the office. Accounts payable, this is my assistant. She works solely accounts payable a couple of days a week. And she's down because, we covered that in September, I think. That just her hours were how we've reduced it and automated it. Capital development breakdown is going to be on the next 2 pages, the $737,243. The $37,000 is the pickleball.
Yep.
Yeah. And what's being planned at each park is on the next page. So, they have possible dog park at Aikman, Christmas lights because Gilcher, is that where we're having no, we didn't have our Christmas party there.
No.
Washington Township has the pickleball for 142, existing pickleball and fixing their amenities. So 259,257 at Washington Township Park. The Washington Township building, they're getting a new electronic sign. I believe they started that this week, so we're paying for part of that sign because it will also, it's a marquee that will also have our information on it as needed. Window treatment storage area, so 35,000 for the Washington Township building. Gilcher Park, everything going on there, 95,000 is estimated. Community center, possible flooring and security cameras. Bruce, 58,000, security cameras, trees on the parks, the walking path, and fountains and pet cleanup stations. Those drinking fountains with, the water bottles. Crystal is 31,000. Community Center Park, 54,000. The sled hill, we'd like to redo it so that people don't slide into the pavilion or into the parking lot under trees would be kind of ideal, for kids, but,
Stops them.
Didn't really have to worry about it too much this year.
No.
The miscellaneous other, replacing the second truck, 40,000. We did replace the one truck this year. A special events trailer to house all of our stuff for special events,
Yep.
You've been one, and our own generator with the lights would be on that.
I think if it's one of the ones that looks like on a trailer, it's going to be a little more than 5,000. Have you priced them at all?
Me? No.
Oh.
No, I have not. No, but I could imagine. Okay, so all of those improvements were on, what is that, page 5. 5 and 6, they go hand in hand. What is what? So any questions on that?
Nope.
Page
You guys?
7.
I don't know.
No.
I do, but,
What's your question?
it's just a lot of numbers at once,
Yeah.
Page 7 is kind of self-explanatory. The clean supervised, part of what we put in here is when we have a facilitator in the building at night to house a program, make sure what's going on, part of their salary goes in there along with our cleaning company. Utilities, our utilities, equipment, supplies, and repair. The fitness center in Washington, that's all the Washington stuff. It's still down $1,000 over last year, as we're anticipating it being down 1,000. Romeo Center, we're down clean supervised because we did switch from we used to have in-house cleaning, and now we have a cleaning company who takes care of everything for us, so we're able to more accurately calculate what we're going to pay because we're on a monthly budget.
Rather than using staff.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we still do have one staff that comes in on the weekends, but he is facilitating while cleaning, so it's kind of like we get to double dip. The fitness center and the old vending machine, which one day we will revisit that and get our nice new own vending machine that we can maintain ourselves. That's a topic for another day.
Yes.
Page 8. Expenses for the ball fields. It includes salaries, marking chalk, whatever the ball fields take. Soccer, same thing. It's also the mowing. See, our vehicles are up a little bit. Parks payroll split. When we, a lot of the guys that go out to the parks and do the maintenance on the parks, the trash and whatever else needs to be done, we put them into one account, and then I will split it amongst all the other parks where they worked. So if they were working in Washington that day, I'll split it between the 5. If they're in Bruce, I split it between the 4, depending on what it is.
Makes sense.
And here we are at programs. These, she puts it side by side for the adults 60 and over. Your revenue is 131, your expense is 106.3. So total income is about 24.7 there. Aquatics, your net income is like 3,800. Dance, 1,500. And dance is always a little bit close because we're trying to keep it economical and keep dancers dancing.
Right.
The general, I do not know what she has in general. So I'm going to say I don't know.
And it is,
Penny left. Does she know what's in general? No?
okay.
Page 9.
What's that?
Page 9.
Page 9? Oh, 9A.
9D, sorry.
9D.
Thanks, Phyllis.
Yep.
Oh, 9D. 67.5, what does she got? Okay. Okay, so there's the senior staff. That is just an expense of 19,000. Your office staff is an expense. Your brochure expense, interest, we have at 2,500, and who knows what the rates are going to do. I think our CD renews in May. Washington revenue of 4,000, community center revenue of 3,000. Field revenue, that's from renting the facility at Washington, the community center, renting the rooms, field revenue, renting the room, or the fields, fitness center revenue, Star building and utilities, that's at 20,000, that we could make 26,000. Your unemployment, these are just expenses, FICA, credit card fees are credit card fees, and if you notice, most places are charging that percentage when you take a credit card. However, we do not want to do that because people already pay taxes to participate with Parks and Rec, and if you put a tax on them using their credit card, that's going to just drive them away. I mean, we don't think it's fair to tax them on something they're already taxed on. The gym and the pool, this is what we pay to use the gyms and the pool at the school, or that's just 50% of the pool. Okay, special events and special events and travel. Page is that one on Phyllis? 9E. Yeah, 9E. I'm not sure what Washington Event Sunday is, but gift certificates, we don't sell too many, maybe $100. Breakfast with Santa. Again, that's more for the kids. We don't make a lot of money on it, but we will have, when we have our sponsors, this is where we'll use some of our sponsorship money to pull it over there to help cover these expenses. Family trips. Other events. I think this year we don't do the Valentine's dance, but we're doing a daddy-daughter dance. And we usually do end up spending a little bit of money on the public events. Easter is one that we spend money on, but again, we will get sponsorship money, and we were asked to put all the sponsorship money into one account, so that's why you're not seeing it broke up under the revenue like it is, or should, like we used to do it. Fireworks, we have specific sponsors that only sponsor the fireworks. Their money goes in there and it comes out. We pretty much break even on that. Kids Fest is funded by us. A lot of times we will also get donors and sponsors, but we can never count on that. Moonwalk and picnic bag, we do rent those out to, if someone's having a party and they need all the sports equipment, they can come and rent that, but we don't really charge them. They have to leave a deposit, they bring it back, they get all their money back. It's a service that we offer. Christmas, same with sponsorship, part-time coordinators and staff. It's a staff expense. There's your sponsorship money for the $24,000 with showing no expense against it because the expenses will be for going towards the special events. Your day trips, we do make some money on trips, not much. Those are mostly senior trips. But Jan does a pretty good job of those and making sure we cover everything and she does do a nice job on all of her trips that people are booking them, so we do get to make a little bit of money on those trips. The youth and the tot. We do have a new girl for our tot program. Seems to be going really well. The leagues are doing well. Basketball league. We do make money in a lot of our programs. Basketball. Bonanza made money this year, which was good. We don't usually have that nice of a margin there, but I think they had more participants. I'm not really 100%. Your tot enrichment. Martial arts through TNT. The flag football.
Yeah, it looks like all those programs are doing well.
Pretty much the programs are designed to cover themselves.
Yep.
And make minimal so that people can keep
Right.
their kids doing what,
Yep.
that's what Parks and Rec is for.
Yep. Okay, so, there's a couple of things we need to talk about on this. In my opinion, I'd like to have another meeting and talk, or another workshop, and go over some of these things with Clara that, that we need to know, have a little bit more input on. What do you guys think?
I think that if you want to pinpoint them, so we can go over it, and like Claire and I can go over it and discuss it and be prepared.
No.
But my issue is,
Yes.
the past 2 years, we have ran out of time on our budgets and not been approved before March 31st.
Oh, no, we're not doing that this year.
And yes, we need to make sure that we have a special meeting and that we can get our budget together and approved because it still has to be presented to both townships. And I think Bruce is having, you guys are having, but that's your budget meeting is on the 13th of March.
Yeah.
And Washington is March 6th. So our next commission meeting isn't till March 21st. So yeah, we'll need to fit a workshop.
Yeah,
and maybe
and
a special meeting
Special meeting, yeah.
to go over it, and because if we have to amend it and bring it back and then bring it in on the 21st so that we can approve it, I'm not sure exactly how all that, but we need to have it approved by the 21st so that we can be in compliance this year with the audit.
We need to have it done before the board meetings.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, like a final draft, because
Right.
if it gets kicked on, for any reason, then I have no time to go back and amend. Claire and I don't have any time to go back and amend it to make it by our deadline.
Suggestions, you guys? I'm pretty available, so.
It's tough for me to get anywhere before 5.
Well, that's
5 o'clock works, so I can maybe do a 4.
And I did speak to Clara today, and one of us will make sure that we are able to attend and present whatever you guys decide, because we need to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm fairly open late afternoon and just not during the day.
So, pick some days. I'm here every day anyway, so.
Me too.
Are we trying to do this still in February?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I am not available on the 22nd. Other than that,
Tuesdays aren't a great opportunity for me,
okay.
but that's about it.
Yeah, Thursday, the 22nd is the only one that I would have, I think, my only big conflict.
I'm kind of open.
When does Clara get back? Brenna, when does Clara get back?
She will be back in the office physically on Tuesday, the 20th. Mentally, I'm not sure why.
Okay, so maybe the week of the 26th, so she has time to get back and you
Yeah.
have time to
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah, because she needs to probably catch up with everyone that
Right.
first week.
Do you want to, is the 28th okay?
26, 28, 29 would work on my end.
Yes, I can make any of those work.
I'll do the 26th then, Monday?
Sure.
And to be sure, you're not going to need legal counsel at that budget workshop, are you?
No,
No.
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 So what time?
Well, it's, what, you want to make it 5 o'clock?
Would
Is
be
that-
perfect.
Okay,
5 o'clock?
I might be 5 minutes behind. but-
That's all right.
that's good.
We can do it here.
Okay.
Well, no, we can't do it here.
Does it have to be at Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Lynn will find us a room.
Yeah, we don't need a lot of space.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll do it on the 26th at 5 at Morton Street.
Okay.
Thank you.
And,
Special guests with me that day.
huh?
I'll have some special guests with me that day.
Oh,
Furry
cool,
ones?
cool.
Because we're going to the vet at 4, so.
Okay.
You don't need right now the actual things that, maybe we'll. put-
Yeah, I would like to know so that I can get started on
Oh,
them.
I mean,
okay.
one would be the budget, the
Yeah,
additional money for the building and grounds for STAR.
mm-hmm,
It's at 20,000. What makes sense to, what amount it makes sense to bump it up to?
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yes.
and, I was thinking I had it here. These wages that you put in, the salary that you put in for the coordinators and yourself and stuff,
Yes.
is that current, or is that what?
That's what's being requested. Current should be,
The current.
Right, or over on the side?
yes.
Okay. So those are the increases?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Then you can scratch that from the list.
Do we need to talk about any investment CD type things? Does that go into this to create additional revenue?
I'm not really sure who was in charge of the investments. I would have to go back through the minutes. I
Okay.
thought Cindy was
Yeah,
working
Is
with
that, okay,
maybe Mike Nicely on that.
right, yes, she was.
okay.
So maybe we don't need to include that
Okay.
in the meeting, because, I mean, that would be money that's.
That's just
not-
going to be
That'd be
extra
extra.
Not
money.
in the,
so, yeah.
right, that's not in the budget, so, okay.
I think I had anything else.
I think the big one, and we were
Oh, the
hoping to
oth-
have some feedback on tonight, was the Gilcher Park Pavilion.
Yes, yeah,
Because that's in there for an improvement, but we're,
we're in limbo right
Yes.
now. So,
Right.
and maybe we could have a little more information from the engineers that I believe we're going to go back.
yeah, who was Dan following
Dan
up on
was
that?
gonna
Dan was
follow
supposed to
up on
follow
that,
up with
yeah.
that.
Yeah, because we'd like to have a number to put in there.
Right, right. And yeah, I think that should do it.
Yeah, I don't have any other notes.
Yeah, it's basically, I mean, the budget's the budget, and
Right.
Yep. So it would be nice to get that done, so we can get it to the boards.
but does it have to be approved here before it goes to the boards?
Yeah.
Yes? So
I
after,
believe so, yeah, yeah,
so after the workshop, there'll have to be a special meeting
Right.
to approve the budget?
yeah.
Okay.
What's that?
I say, yeah, should we set that date?
Yeah, we might as well.
Yeah.
Special
meetings, 18 hours.
Yeah.
But we're all
So,
here.
Again, kind of open, so you guys have the more pressing schedules. If we could do something, like the week of the 4th of March. I think that would be enough time after our,
Is that enough time to get it to Washington?
Theirs is the 13th.
yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah, that
Fourth.
week looks pretty open.
You want to do Monday, the 4th again?
Sure.
Okay.
5 again?
Yep. And we might as well do that one. We can do it here, because by that time, the voting stuff will be done. This is the room they use for a precinct.
And do we have to let Washington know that we're going to put it on their agenda for
Yes.
approval at their meeting?
Yes, and Bruce.
Okay, so
Stan?
So I have to let them know that, what meeting are we going to try to present them? I mean, that's, on the 4th is when you're going to try to approve the budget, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So whenever their next meeting, so what, the 13th at Washington and,
Is it the 13th?
I had Bruce for the 13th
Oh,
and the
sorry.
6th for Washington.
okay.
Bruce is the third Thursday, or third Wednesday of the month.
It's the 6th. Washington is the 6th.
Washington is the 6th?
And Bruce's would be the 20th.
So those are the dates we need to request to be on their agenda, right?
Yes.
And Cindy will request those? Does Cindy request to be on it? Who requests to be on their agenda?
Well, in the past, it's been Clara.
Okay.
But I think Cindy, maybe with Clara, or just Cindy if she wants to do it without. That's fine.
Okay, as long as somebody.
We can touch base with her.
Tell Sam it's coming on the 6th. There you go.
Okay? All right. So that takes care of the budget stuff. Moving on. Unfinished business, property leases. We already talked about the village. So that one's taken care of. Washington Township, I believe Cindy was talking to, working with Washington on that?
I believe she wanted, last meeting, she said she wanted to get Romeo, the Village of Romeo squared away first, and after we had Village of Romeo, then she would work
on
with
to-
Washington.
Okay. So no real update on that. Romeo Community Schools Agreement, it's been turned over to them. it was last with their attorney, and I called and have been waiting to get back in touch with Dr. Robinson to see where we stand with that. Has not seemed to be a problem, or they don't seem to have any, but when their attorney looks at it, you know how those guys are.
Yeah.
They may have a problem, I don't know. So, update regarding bylaws. I thought the bylaws were done. So I don't know why it's on here.
Okay, there were some small wording changes that
Okay.
was given to Mr. Starin. That,
To be changed because of the star.
Yeah, they added star to it. So,
and Cindy was handling that as well.
okay.
Yeah, Mr. Dukowski motioned to have Ms. Knight make the updates to the bylaws and bring corrections back to the next meeting.
Okay. So, that'll be next, pushed to the next meeting. Employment agreement, final review and signature, well, that's with Clara. Clara's on vacation. So that's a no-go for tonight. PNC credit cards,
So that was Cindy.
Cindy.
that was Cindy. And Cindy did contact me, and she has been going round and round with their people because they don't seem to understand, and it's not like the PNC Bank, it's the credit card portion that has an issue with the name.
Yes,
So,
because our website is different than our paperwork, and with the transition and the new interlocal, and then another new interlocal, we're not able to get credit cards for each department at Parks and Rec.
so, I gave her some suggestions, but
It's been 2 years
I
in the
don't want to
making.
talk about them here.
2 years in the making to get credit cards.
I know, it's ridiculous. I mean, I understand their point, I understand that's how they verify things when it comes to a business or an organization. And it looks shady if you have a different website with a different name and things like that. But she did have a contact that she was working with, so we'll have to wait for her update on that. Task and motion review, she has that. That's the next item, so there isn't really anything to go over on that. The Washington Parks project bid, that I think Dan was going to get back with us on that.
Boy, we're cruising right along.
And then we have Washington Township Bill 67% backup request. I
That
think
was Cindy also.
Cindy was talking to Stan about where that 67% came from. And I don't know that where she stands with that. We didn't talk about that one. So, moving right along, commission candidates. In the board packet are the applications that were submitted by people who wish to be part of this. The pay's not great, I can tell you that. And I,
Normally, the meetings are more exciting.
yeah, well, hey, I can do something if you want. But,
This is really pleasant tonight.
well, that's what we're here for.
No.
You know, it's a public service entity, and so what we're supposed to work toward. All right, we only had one person for the Bruce side of things, and we were looking for a alternate. Is Donna here tonight? All right, Donna, you want to come up and talk to us a little bit, tell us about yourself?
Hey, good evening. So I put my application in because I have lived in Romeo. I live on 252 Church Street. Been here for 33 years. And my experience, I've been working in land conservation and open space for most of my life. For 11 years, I was the director of Six Rivers Land Conservancy, and I've been with Oakland County Parks for 12 years. I'm currently their chief of planning. And other things, I've spent a lot of the time I've lived here driving over to Oakland County and working, and I've just wanted to start investing a little bit more here at home. One of the projects I'm working on, I'm on the leadership committee for the green space on Prospect Street, where we're working on raising funds to help the village to purchase the former middle school property from the school district to preserve as a public green space. If we're successful with that, which, the fundraising, we've got Fort County Community Foundation officially as our fundraising partner now. We're planning to move on and establish a fund with the Community Foundation and invest in other green spaces throughout the area. So, and if you are, let me see, anything else I need to tell you? Anyway, if you're interested in my service, I'm making myself available.
I just have a question.
Sure.
And these guys are free to ask questions too. When it comes to what we're looking for is an alternate, which fills in when one of us can't be here.
Okay.
In my view, the important thing about a person being an alternate, though, is that they're as involved as we are, because if you have to step in, you have to know what's going on. That would be my expectations, is that, they stay involved with us. Doesn't mean you have to be at all the meetings and stuff like that, but at least maybe watch them.
Yeah, well, that makes sense to me. And if you are interested in me, I would like to spend some time with your local agreements and your bylaws, and actually understanding, how you work and what your relationships are with the three communities. So,
cool.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The rest of the candidates are for Washington, and Pam and I don't get to pick those. The Washington people do. But tonight is tonight is your night to introduce yourself if you want, and tell us a little bit about yourself. So, is Lori here? Okay. Michelle here. Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Dembski. I live in Washington Township, and I have for 31 years. I just thought it would be nice to give back to the community a little bit. I've raised two girls here. We've done many of the Parks and Recs programs as they were growing up since they were infants. And they're out of the house now, and I just have a little bit of extra time, and I just thought it would be nice to give back to the community. I currently work for Macomb Community College. I'm manager of counseling and academic advising, so I have a lot of experience with being involved in committees and helping with individuals and those kind of things, and I thought it would just be nice to help out. Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions? And so, I guess the only question that I would have is, we are looking for a regular commission member and an alternate.
Mm-hmm.
Either one of those works for you?
Either one works for me.
We still
that's
have an
right.
alternate until we get to
Oh,
number
okay.
whatever D.
I'm sorry.
Wishful thinking.
No, I'm basing that comment on a conversation that I had. So, okay. All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Kimberly.
Good evening. My name's Kim Duda. I have 3 children. I've been living in Washington Township for the past 12 years. My 3 children are 19, 18, and 12. I have a daughter that is disabled and in a wheelchair, so I have a little bit different perspective on Parks and Rec from that perspective. And I have spent my career doing operational management. I, for about 10 years, managed a health and wellness company that also did physical therapy, massage therapy, personal training, all for people with disabilities. I recently decided to resign from my job to care for my daughter full-time, and I am also looking to get back to my community and volunteer to help in any way that I can. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
You guys? No?
No?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will be getting back with you guys shortly once we talk to the other Washington Township folks. Arlene?
Hello and good evening. My name is Arlene. I also go by Tina Kadarian. I live in Washington Township. I've lived here for 27 years. I've participated in the Romeo Parks and Recs program since 2012, so for 12 years. I love the program. I just retired in October, have a little bit more time in my hand, and I'd love to get back to the program and help my community. And that's it.
Cool. Thank you. All right, so that was kind of the meet and greet, if you will, from of the candidates. What did I do with my agenda? So what will happen now is Pam and I, being the Bruce Township people, will discuss our candidate. And the Washington Township folks will discuss the people that applied, and hopefully we can have an answer for you shortly. What happens on these particular ones, they're picked as a commission, we vote on them, and then it goes to the, well, it'll go back to Washington Township to ratify the replacement, and Bruce Township to ratify the alternate. Okay? So, that's a done one. Next one is new copier lease.
Yeah, our copiers are due to be replaced, and we're looking at terminating the current leases. I know Clara's question here, I don't have the quotes from the new company, but this MITN, they are already vetted through the source she uses, so I know the question was, do we still need to get our 3 quotes? If they've already been vetted, and do other municipalities, and like through the bid process, it's already been, this company's already been approved. So we're wondering if we still have to go and retrieve 3 quotes. Like they've done, somebody else has already done all the due diligence, and they've been vetted and approved for municipalities that other people use them. So are we able to just proceed with getting a lease through them, or do we still have to go through the 3 quote process?
I'd have to review the policy, but it's not a purchase, it's a lease.
Right.
So I don't know that the purchase policy necessarily applies in that situation. If it's been vetted and we've worked with the companies before, I don't have a problem with moving forward with it.
Yeah, I don't have an issue. I don't know if there's anything in place that says different as far as the bidding goes.
They've been vetted. How does Washington Bruce work? Have they been vetted within our
That I don't know. I know we recently got a copier replaced, but it was the same company that, we've been dealing with. It didn't go out to bid or anything like that, so.
Do you know which municipalities vetted the?
No, I think it was on the bid program we use for, that did our landscape and. So,
BidNet?
yeah. So, and they were vetted through BidNet to be approved. So we'll have to look into, I guess, what the,
Yeah, we'll have to discuss that one. Is it coming up imminent? And is it the copier on its last leg?
no,
Okay.
no. We have newer copiers, but our lease is coming to the end. So, I mean, we have some time, but.
So this is the same company? It would just be a new lease with the same?
No, it's a different company. We're trying to reduce the rates because we're trying to print some of our brochures and everything in-house. So right now we pay the monthly lease and then so much per copy.
Right.
And the more we print, the more it's going to cost us.
Right.
So we're trying to get
And
more of
color
a
costs more.
standard lease payment with a lower per copy price.
I know we get hit for color copies over a certain amount.
Yes. And that's why we have set ours to standard black and white unless we're doing something that needs presentation.
Okay. So we'll bring that back.
Can we do that when we do the budget?
Yes.
Just to find, at the budget meeting?
Yeah,
So we can find out if we need to go through that 3-bid process?
Right,
At least have an answer by then.
yeah. We'll put it on the agenda for that as well. The next one was chatter or comments made regarding the Washington Township building and Parks and Rec. Sam, you're still here. Can you speak to that a little bit? Or do you want to? Well, I'll tell you it's okay. I don't know. What was it, I guess what I'm interested in is what is it that brought this about and is there some plan?
Yes, so we received a complaint from Clara Russell on, this is the second time she's written to both Mike Philbrook and myself requesting that the treatment she's receiving from Mr. Dan Dukowski, both, I guess I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure Mr. Philbrook's in agreement. As an employee of both townships, we just don't feel that she should be a victim of any type of harassment or abuse. So, again, our board consulted with our legal counsel. He says that our board could not make any type of removal of anyone. So I made a motion to have a hearing, which is part of the interlocal agreement. It was put to vote. It didn't pass. It was 4-3. Myself, Mike Nicely, and Trustee Stevenson voted for the hearing, and it didn't pass. As I said, 4-3. On the basis, they said it should only come from you guys, the commission members. So, as I stated earlier in open comments, I'm hoping the commission will make that recommendation to have a hearing on Mr. Dukowski.
Bounce it to our legal counsel just because my understanding is that the alternates were chosen by the townships. So this council commission had no say in who those people were going to be.
Well, it wasn't that our attorney thought that even though Clara's had this concern that it can't come from her, it can only come from you guys on her treatment.
Okay.
So that was.
Chair, I think the interlocal agreement addresses removal and indicates that the ultimate removal would be at a hearing in front of the township board. But perhaps it sounds like what might be proposed or what at least the township council is seeking is some type of motion, potentially, from this commission requesting that the township consider a hearing removal for cost. So is that accurately addressing what you may be asking this body to?
Yes, I'm asking this board to send it to our board for consideration of a hearing.
Ask that your board have conduct the hearing.
Yes.
Or ask that they consider having a hearing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I don't agree. I still think Clara's, even though she's not a commission member, she's still an employee of both townships, so her concern should be valid, but our board didn't feel that way for them anyway.
I don't want to weigh in at this
Yeah, I
point
know.
because I don't want it to look like a township thing or anything like
Yeah,
that,
I
which
know.
is why I've stayed
And then-
out of it.
I mean, I don't know if, our legal counsel also said he didn't know how the hearing would proceed. Is that both boards together, or would that, he said it could be as formal or informal as we wanted. I don't know if that should be both boards together or not. I don't know how that would work. But I guess that would be for both attorneys to figure out.
Well, again, I don't have the interlocal in front of me. I think that issue would go to the township board who appointed that particular commissioner. And I'm looking for it right now. I'll verify that once I find.
But needless to say, we had over an hour of comments from residents requesting his immediate removal or for him to resign. Obviously, he didn't. I ended, after about an hour of comments, I asked for that motion and it failed, and that's the nickel tour of the meeting, basically.
My real question was, there was some,
Or was it something else?
yeah, it was something else, but that's okay.
Well, our treasurer made he did put on the agenda to have a resolution of, I forgot the terminology, but basically that we didn't condone his behavior towards Ms. Russell.
Right.
But that got
Voted no confidence.
That got removed from the agenda. The board voted 4-3 again. They didn't allow us to discuss it.
I was talking about the Washington Township building. It was
He's asking about the new building.
the new building issue.
Yeah, that's become a big controversial item on some Facebook posts. Both the township and the senior center has grown over the years. We were trying to find a solution. I've heard rumblings, obviously not on camera, from other board members that they either want to charge rent to the senior center or move them out of the senior center. I'm trying to find a way to prevent that from happening. Our prior building official, Mike Bomarito, he had suggested we build up front on the green space up front to kind of make a campus for Washington Township. The funds that are sitting in the Parks and Rec from the millage over the years is a little over $3 million. We were wondering if it was just a possibility. It's not in our budget, and it's not a proposal, as everyone's saying. I just gave it out for food for thought. If that money could go towards a 99-year lease, similar to the Morton Center, turn our township hall into a community center so it could fully function as a full, not just a senior center, but also a community center. And we would build a township hall up front. This way, we're not taking away other taxable value from other property in the township. So I just gave it for food for thought. I did it last year as well. There would be no land cost involved, obviously, so that would help reduce the price, and that's why the $3 million or less would work. I'm not saying that fully take the $3 million. We would have to price it out and see if there's even a possibility of it. We're also in the process of looking to build a DPW building, which would eliminate staff out of our building. If that happens, then our office should be back under staffing levels, and we wouldn't have, I think, the major growing pains right now. The big problem we're having right now is the new election laws are now 9 days early, so that's taking up the senior center now for 9 days for 3 elections this year. So I know the people aren't happy about that, but again, that's a state law. We're kind of stuck with that right now.
Yeah.
But again, it was a proposal. It's not a new tax at all. That money's sitting in that account right now. That's part of the money, but again, it was just a proposal. It was just more for food for
That's
thought.
kind of what I wanted.
There's no shovels in the ground.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of what I wanted to know.
And then, like, to add more fuel to fire, we removed our sign. We ordered that about several months ago for a new LED sign, which would help. In the wintertime, nobody wants to change the sign. Everything is so It's kind of a sore subject. Lately, I've been changing the sign myself because nobody wants to go out there. We're going to put a new LED sign. It will dim down at 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. It won't be. Clara's looked it over. We had them come out and bring a sample. It's taken over 7 months to make the sign. It's supposed to be, they're going to put the foundation in the next couple of weeks, so hopefully within the next 2-3 weeks we'll have the new sign up front, but it'll be a nice LED. It'll change every 30 seconds with the new thing, and so which is nice. The rumor was we were taking the sign down to build a new building. That's not the case. So the old sign, we're going to refurbish it. The Washington Township bought Hacks Acres on Mound. We're going to make it a conservation piece, and I thought to save money, we're using that same sign to bring it over there, and we're just going to change the name on top there. So we're going to keep the old sign. It's going to be used again.
Sounds good. No, I mean, that was my question. You clarified it. Thank you. I appreciate
I
it.
gave an hour presentation on the budget, and that's the only thing people saw. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, we just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like the plan.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, it would come from you guys, not from us. But again, it's just more food for thought. So, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
And
If I could, through the chair, just to confirm what I had previously said, I have had an opportunity to look at the amended interlocal agreement. 4.6.3 addresses removal and states a commissioner member, comma, including an alternate comma, may be removed from the commission for misfeasance, malfeasance, or nonfeasance after a hearing and by a majority vote of each township board. Apparently, the issue may have been that whether it required for the township board action of this commission referring the matter, or whether the independent request of the executive director was sufficient. It sounds like at least Washington board wished for there to be the commission direction. So.
Sorry, I have one question. So is the individual, can he vote for himself or no? That's the number one question I'm getting from everyone. I don't know. Okay. Okay.
Big survey.
I think that there would be conflict of interest or even accused
Yeah.
as a subject of that motion or that particular hearing.
Okay.
That would be a normal evaluation of that question.
Okay.
But I can certainly talk with Mr. Seward about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But
Oh, thank you.
going to the issue, this is new business, and this commission may wish to consider taking action right now in light of some of the comments. It may also, given the 2 additional meetings that have been scheduled, allow for that to be placed as an agenda item on one of its upcoming meetings that would, at minimum, afford some notice of that particular issue.
Right.
So the particular commissioner would be advised, or at least have an awareness that the matter was being considered potentially.
I agree.
He's aware.
Yeah.
But I agree, we should have it as an agenda item to discuss it.
He's very aware.
Well,
Comments?
I was gonna,
okay, go ahead. That was just my thought.
okay.
My thoughts don't mean anything.
Does it has to go back to a hearing? We can make a motion to request a hearing through the townships. That's our, that would be our next step. That's something we can do.
You can't.
Okay.
You can't entertain that.
Okay,
It's not currently on your agenda.
correct. You want to hear public comment first? Or do we have to finish?
Well, we can finish. What, so she can make a motion that we, even though it's not, well, it is an agenda item because it's F, it was added, right, or D, D, it was added.
It was that, yes, it was amended to have discussion about it. I'm not sure the extent of the amendment was as it relates to the motion. But the answer is, can you make that motion? Yes, you may.
Okay.
And you may make it now, or you may make it later. And I just
There's a decision.
comment about notice, but that's up to the prerogative of
the decision is going to still rest with Washington Township and
Both.
Both.
It's going to rest with both township boards.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that the language of the interlocal agreement, it seems to invite a potential conflict with if one township board makes one particular action and emotion doesn't carry any other. There seems to be tension.
So what happens then?
Nothing.
I would, the clear reading of the interlocal agreement would be that it doesn't carry.
Okay.
I mean, my opinion is that I would like to make a motion to send it back to Washington Township for a hearing, that if Dan cannot effectively change his behavior and comments, that they consider him for removal.
Do I have a second?
Could I just ask as to
Yeah.
the language of the proposed motion? I mean, that removal section asks for the township board to conduct a hearing to determine whether misfeasance, malfeasance, or nonfeasance has or is present with respect to the particular commission. Is that really what you're trying to ask?
Yes. Make a motion that Washington Township hold a hearing to determine if he is in breach of the interlocal agreement.
One more question. It seems that that motion should go to both township boards, because both township boards have to have that hearing.
Okay. So a motion for it to go to both the Washington and the Bruce Township boards to determine if Mr. Dukowski has, in fact, breached the interlocal agreement.
Who has to provide the,
Somebody has to support the motion.
right, okay. You want to support that? No? I'll second it. All in favor?
Do we do discussion first? Did you have something?
No.
Okay.
No discussion on the motion?
There may be discussion with respect to the motion.
Oh.
If you're going
Okay.
to allow that, Chair.
Okay. Just
Okay. Number one, thank you for making the motion. John Chaplin again, Washington Township. I think, Tom stole my thunder earlier when he noticed how much lighter the meeting was tonight. It's indicative of the problem that you've been dealing with. I was at the meeting where the board met just to, I don't know if you watched the meeting back. There was some discussion about this. I think you guys get put in an interesting position with regards to the interlocal. You have commission members here, and it may be something where you want to look at your bylaw review again, because this particular issue puts you in a position where you don't have any authority over your own members for removal. It may be something to consider as an amendment for the future. But as a citizen, I know Dan spent a lot of time at the last meeting talking about Clara's bosses, and this board was her boss, and you can't talk about who's going to be your boss. I don't like that kind of language. I mean, I could stand up here and say, we, the citizens, are your bosses, and we're telling you what to do. I wouldn't tell you what to do. I'd tell you what we would like you to do. What we'd like you to do is make that motion, send it back to both boards, and let them decide if removal is proper. Appreciate you making the motion. I'd love to see a vote and let those boards do their job. Thank you.
all right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'm not supposed
So that kind of took yours too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yours is done?
Yep.
Okay. Any other community comments? You got your name,
Hi,
sir.
Washington Township. I have a couple of questions. Usually the protocol when you take attendance is when somebody's not at the table, you say absence with or without notice. So I'm wondering if you had notice from Commissioner Dukowski and Commissioner Knight, if they were not attending the meeting tonight.
We did have notice from Cindy, I know.
Correct.
I don't.
There's nothing more in the email.
I'll check my emails real quick.
And my apologies, I have no clue what I'm doing.
And I did get notice from Dan that he'll be unable to attend the meeting. So yes, they both were absent with notice.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, one other comment I wanted to make. I find it quite puzzling that the treasurer would be absent when they were going to have the review of the budget. I find that quite puzzling.
I think she has some personal issues that are kind of pressing.
Okay. Phyllis Zimmerman, Washington Township. This is a question for the attorney through the chair. Since you're having the issue with the credit cards and the two names, I'm wondering, could we set up a DBA where RWB Parks and Rec becomes a DBA under the commission? And that way, it would all be one organization, maybe. I don't know. I know I work for a company that has a couple of DBAs in companies, so it just came to my mind that that might work, just so that the bank's happy. The other comment I have is regarding the copy machine and whether you need bids or not. Firstly, it would probably depend on how much the annual contract is, whether it fits under, there is a ceiling. But I would think you should get 3 quotes, only because if you don't, it will be controversial.
Agree.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Phyllis. Anybody else? Any other community comments? Okay. Commission comments.
Welcome aboard.
Well, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me. Looking forward to getting more involved.
Okay. Pam? Nothing? I don't really have anything. I think we covered most everything during the regular course of the meeting. I appreciate people coming. I would like to see this many people on a regular basis, though, because a lot of times we're looking out at like maybe one person. So please, get involved. Come to the meetings, see what we're doing, support Parks and Rec and STAR. With that, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.